Live from the Mainstream Cannabis Media Empire, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Veedverks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks.
I'm Michael Miller, Marketing Director for PanaceaLife.com.
Nice.
Simple and easy today.
Is it a beautiful day out there today?
It's gorgeous. You know what? Coming in today, I love the spring, how green all the mountains are everywhere. Yeah. It's really beautiful out.
Yeah, a lot of deer.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, you live around that area where you can see them.
Yeah.
So what other things do you see out there where you live?
My neighbor got a picture of a bear one
really
time, but I've never seen a bear.
Wow, but deer everywhere or what?
I've got my eye out for Sasquatch, as always.
Well, you know, they're out there somewhere in these Rocky Mountains.
Yeah. I went to a funeral yesterday.
Sorry about that.
Oh, thanks. One of my classmates from the Air Force Academy passed away from cancer.
Oh.
And so I drove up to the gate to get onto the Air Force Academy, and the guard said, "Do you have any guns or drugs in the car?" And I thought, let's say no.
Yeah.
And then when I was sitting in the cadet chapel at the funeral, I was thinking about, I think everybody there naturally, I mean, he was my age, so you start pondering your own mortality.
Sure.
And I thought, my funeral, it's going to have a bunch of Canna-Fam at it, I would assume. And so can you imagine the amount of cars backed up if we had the service at the Air Force Academy?
How many times they've got asked, do you have guns or drugs?
Yeah, they'd have cars backed out onto I-25. It'd be a big deal.
Maybe not the guns as much, but the other.
Maybe the drugs.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the drugs. Can you believe that mushrooms passed?
Unbelievable. I mean, it was like neck and neck. At first they were saying it just missed, and then boom. How many votes did it won by? Just under 2,000?
Just under 2,000 votes it won by.
Wow.
But it beat Mayor Hancock by 20,000 votes.
I kept on reading stuff like that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Julie and I were at the election results watching party.
Oh, really?
And when we left, it seemed like we had lost. But,
yeah.
Oh no. Comeback story of the year. So congratulations, Denver, on decriminalizing mushrooms, and major props and respect to everybody involved with the Initiative 301.
Yeah.
That was really impressive, and I think it fired a real shot across the bow of the prohibitionists.
Absolutely.
We're not done.
Well, I mean, what's unbelievable is I think Colorado is really leading the charge on a lot of natural health movements. You would have thought it would be California, but Colorado is really taking the next step forward.
Yep. Next up, we're going to legalize toads.
What, licking them?
Yeah, licking toads, smoking toad excretions.
I would pass on that one, personally. I'll vote for it, though.
Yeah. So did we mention already? So we're streaming on Dash Radio on Purple Haze Lifestyle channel. So
exciting times. Built in 1.3 million followers. And, we're, I think, raising the level of our guests as well and really putting out good, solid information and education.
Yep. Well, today our guest is Darren Steven Miller from Tyson Ranch, and he has a fascinating story.
Yes, he does.
Welcome to the show, Darren. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. It's a beautiful day where I'm at also. I'm in the St. Louis area. It's
nice.
About 70, 75 degrees, sunny. It's been raining for a week, but we're drying out. We're very happy.
But it's nice and green, right? That's what I love.
It's all growing very fast.
Yeah.
So could you...
So where are you gentlemen? Which state you located in?
Colorado.
Colorado, beautiful Colorado. I'll be passing through there next week, headed to LA and Vegas to do some business. So life is very good in the industry today. There's so much going on all over the country, actually all over the world. People are waking up to the fact of how medicinal cannabis is, and then how our ancestors have used it their whole lives. There's just so much that people don't know about this plant. It's unbelievable. So let's educate them.
You're a walking testimony to the power of cannabis. You should be dead now. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm the only living person that we know of that has talcum powder inside of my pericardial heart sac, and it was because they had to do that to save my life. What happened was I woke up 4 years ago, and I was sleeping, and I gained 8 pounds in my sleep. I woke up, I could not breathe. I was smoking cannabis for my multiple sclerosis symptoms. I'm on disability for stage 3 multiple sclerosis. A lot of symptoms, can't walk correctly, use a cane. And then I wake up with this weight gain and I can't breathe. We run to the hospital and we find out that my pericardium doesn't have the 70 milliliters of fluid in it. It's supposed to have, around it. I had 890 in mine. It was the size of a football. So I was in what they call congestive heart failure from having too much fluid in my pericardial heart sac. And it was just crazy. So they drained that fluid out of my body and told me that they think there's a cancer situation because that just doesn't happen inside the heart sac. 4 days later, it's my 50th birthday, and they take me into open heart surgery, and they crack my chest open. And that's when we find out that I have stage 4 adenocarcinoma, lung cancer, that had metastasized to the heart sac. And then since it had grew blood vessels and was bleeding in there, they packed my heart with powder to coagulate blood. Just put a little hole in it, drained the fluid out, filled it with powder, packed it with that, and then they said that would coagulate. That would give me about 2 months to live, that I had a pre-terminal event. They told my wife to get my affairs in order, that we needed to buy a casket, do the whole 9 yards. So we did do that, but my story didn't end up that way.
What'd you do with the casket?
We purchased it, didn't bring it on site, of course, because you don't bring them to your home.
You really bought one?
Yeah, we still own one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a cancer survivor, and they'll never be able to take away the fact that I used cannabinoids to cause apoptosis and kill the tumors in my body, which the government says can happen. But I don't know how long I have to live because of what's wrong with me. I'm very healthy day in and day out, but I also have, I've done some treatment. I'm not a very healthy person as far as inside the body. I'm a walking miracle that cannabinoids can save your life, but medical treatment is necessary until this is studied and until they find out the mechanisms exactly why it works for me and did not work for the other people that we have tried to help with this. That's the big problem with cannabis, is access to people who need it. People know it's a medicine now, but how do you get it?
Well, how did you get it? Would you tell us the story about, tell us the story about Dr. Peterson and how all that came about.
Let's get that straight. He's not a doctor. His name's Mark Pedersen. He lives in Missouri. He writes legislation, and he belonged to the ESC therapy group out of Peoria, which is the endocannabinoid system therapy group years ago. Him and Regina Nelson started that. Anyway, this man has a saying. He says, cannabinoids are the most important discovery of the 21st century. Now, when you think about that, and you think about the medicine, the fuel, the plastic, all the things involved in hemp and cannabis, it is going to change the world when they let us use it again. But we're just not there yet. Okay, so I had this pre-terminal event where I woke up and I had this cancer problem, and then 4 days later they drained my heart. But here's where it got really crazy. As soon as they drained my heart and I woke up from that surgery, they told me that the longest survivor of a pericardial tamponade powder insertion was 2.7 months. So now they said, there's nothing we can do for you. I said, well, what about radiation and chemo? Shoot me with all that stuff, save my life. And they said, you're not a candidate for anything like that. We can give you chemo for the next couple months if you can handle it, but you're very sick. They said, but chemo's not going to help you, what you have. They said, you have powder in your heart, you have blood vessels that have grown inside your pericardium from a tumor that has started in your lungs. He said, so this is very rare and it's unsurvivable. It's a pre-terminal event. That's when my little brother come walking into my hospital room and said that he's a musician. He said he was at an event years ago in Missouri, and there was a gentleman there named Mark Pedersen who was walking around openly smoking cannabis in Missouri at an event without getting arrested. And I said, well, what does he do? He said, well, he makes cannabis into this grease called Rick Simpson Oil. He said, if you eat it, it can kill tumors in your body with no guarantee. He goes, but it's working for a lot of people, and there's miracles being given. So that's right away. We called Mark Pedersen. We looked on his Facebook and found his phone number. My wife called him, and he picked up the phone, which is how it all started. He said, you know what? Where you live, this is not available. You need to jump in your car, and you need to drive to where it is. He goes, now, at that time, it was only legal in a few places. It was only legal medicinally in California and Colorado. It wasn't even recreational yet. So at this point, we don't have medicine. I'm smoking street weed, reg, the things you find, just to keep my MS at bay. And now I have this situation where we're looking at the videos online about the Rick Simpson stuff, and it's overwhelming. How do you find a marijuana grease?
What exactly is Rick Simpson Oil for the people that don't know, the listeners that don't know?
It's a tincture. You take cannabis. It could be any cannabis, but they use the indica strains for its resting qualities.
Sure.
You take this and you take the dried flower. We prefer a whole plant. That way you get the entourage effect of the full spectrum of cannabinoids. You know, there's a lot more in there than just the THC and the cannabidiol and the cannabinol. There's a lot of things going on in the roots and everything. So you take this dried plant and you put it in a bucket and you cover it in Everclear alcohol. This is how a regular everyday layman can do this right in their home. And you soak that for about 3 minutes. And you're washing the trichomes and the little terpenes and everything off the leaves. Well, you do that for about 3 minutes, and then you pull that plant out and you throw it away. All you have left is this green liquid that you can pour into a rice cooker, which will boil at about 170 degrees and start to dissipate that alcohol very quickly. Before you know it, you have this black tar, which is all the plant matter that was on top of those leaves in the bottom of this pot. That is guaranteed at that point, no matter what cannabis you use. If you use cannabis that can get you high by smoking it, it has tetrahydrocannabinol delta 9 in it. It has THC in it. So you're washing the THC off the leaves, and now you're going to ingest this oil. And what this oil does is it causes our bodies have what's called programmed cell death. You could not be sitting there if your hair didn't stop growing or your fingernails or your organs in your body is constantly shedding tissues all day long. Your body tells those cells when to die. When you get cancer, your body won't tell that cell to die. It kind of accepts it and lets it just go out of control. So the programmed tumor cell death mechanism of your brain, it's in your anandamides that actually flow through your body. Those are actually just like THC, and God put it in your body. That is how all your cells die and how you live to be 100 years old without having hair on you or cells inside your body that are 80 years old. Your body has to regenerate. So what cannabis does is this miracle. When you take this grease and you eat it, it goes into your body, and what it does, it connects to a CB1 or CB2 receptor right at the cancer cell site, and it induces what's called a ceramide synthesis that leads to cell death. A normal cell doesn't do that. It's not affected by cannabinoids that way. The reason it dies is not because it has cytotoxic chemicals coming at it. It's because it shifts the mitochondria of the cell. This is insane, but this is fact. It changes the mitochondria of the cell, and what the mitochondria is, that's where your cells get energy. Well, if you shut off all the pro-survival pathways and energy to a cancer cell, it's going to starve to death and commit suicide. And that is called apoptosis is the name for that. The government studied this in the 70s and figured this out in animal lab studies, in models, in vitro. But they found out that if it kills tumor cells, and there's been 0 deaths from cannabis in the history of mankind, why would we let people use this as medicine whenever almost all medicines are synthesized? You know, that's just where we are today. So what we're talking about here is whenever a cancer cell is introduced to THC, there is no way it can survive, because at that point it raises a protein in it called P53, which causes it to starve itself to death. So this is very, very, how would you say it? We have chemists working on this and telling us how this is working now, and this is all fact. So it's very exciting to know that cannabinoids are good for your body. Your body produces them already. It's called anandamides. It's actually in a woman's breast milk. When she breastfeeds a baby, the baby gets tired and he passes out after he eats. There's no tryptophan in her breast milk from a turkey like you do, when you get tired. Sure. It's because there's natural anandamides in breast milk, and when a baby breastfeeds, it gets cannabinoids. It's fascinating what God has done with our bodies. But why would that plant grow everywhere in the world? Everywhere. And I believe it's mentioned in the Bible for the theological people, because it was put on this plant to be used as a medicine and a superfood. And now we can take this and do so many things with it. It's just a miracle of mankind that we haven't continued to use this. And that's what your job and my job is, to let people know this, because it's world changing. It really is. Now, Mark Pedersen, you asked me about him. He recently has been in some trouble because for helping people. He has passed laws where kids can get cannabis in schools. He's just an incredible guy. When I met him, he invited me to his home, and we went and got the medicine in California, and I used it, and I started getting better. But then I needed more. I didn't have enough. He invited me to his house in Colorado and showed me how to make it. I mean, we stayed at his home, and he got out his cannabis, and he had these big machines, like fondue machines from the 60s, and that's the way they used to make this hash oil. That's all it is old school hash oil. But instead of smoking it, you ingest it, which causes completely different effects in the human body. Also, animal bodies. We've stopped cancer in dogs. We've stopped cancer in horses. If you are a mammal and you have a spine, your body will interact and use cannabinoids unless you're allergic to herbs. They have this hyper puking thing going on with people using too much cannabis. Well, I know somebody who can't even use pepper and salt in their food. They're allergic to herbs, so they'll never be able to use cannabis. That's just some of the things you think about. Some people will never be able to use it, but in majority, we all can use it, and it's in our bodies already.
So, I should mention that if you are making RSO, to do that outside and have a fan blowing and keep it's not an indoor activity, because you are vaporizing off the ethanol that you use as the solvent when you have it in the rice cooker. So don't blow your houses up.
Good information.
Yeah, you know what? Rick Simpson himself has videos out. I've made videos. Follow the videos. Be very smart-minded. No flames. You can do this in your kitchen. Now, most people say, I can't even find cannabis. I'm using the wrong kind. Like I said, we like to use indicas because of its resting qualities. But when it comes right down to it, I've seen a video of people making this medicine out of the out of the worst cannabis you could ever have. It's just hard, brick brown, old Reggie weed. And it still will make the medicine. THC is THC. Just like CBD in a hemp plant, and there's CBD in a cannabis plant. But on a molecular level, they're both CBD, so that's where we're at with this, The world is waking up to the fact that even CBD, it's a huge fad right now. All the companies are producing this hemp medicine. But what are they going to do when the laws change and they get a chance to get the real thing, the tetrahydrocannabinol delta 9, that is so essential in so many things? We have a brain lipid in our body, and cannabinoids, they grab a hold of that and they bind to it. And our body, has been doing the same thing inside without it. So if you haven't been using it, you have an endocannabinoid deficiency. Actually, that's where we are at with this today. It kills tumors. It stops seizures. This stuff can help with appetite. I can get a list out. There's hundreds of things this stuff can help. In my journey while we were doing this, we had to keep purchasing this medicine. And so we lost me there. Can you still hear me, gentlemen?
Yeah, we can still hear you. We've lost your video. Not sure why, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Technical thing on your studio in there. But should I keep talking here?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
When you get this medicine, okay? Here's what's crazy. 4 years ago, this wasn't available for everybody. We walked into dispensaries, and they were guarded with guns. You had to have a cannabis card. So I actually went there with my records, bought an apartment in one day, and went to a 420 doctor. That's how they do it out there. And I showed him my records, and he said, "Oh, my God, Mr. Miller, you are very sick. So, yeah, no problem. We're going to give you cannabis rights. We're going to give you grow rights. You can grow 99 plants in your house. You can be a caregiver." It was crazy the way it was then. But I didn't care about all that. I just wanted to get my hands on some real Rick Simpson oil, and then the search was on. We drove to about 8 or 9 dispensaries and could not find it. I walked in, and I asked these younger people working there, maybe 20, 25-year-olds. I said, I need Rick Simpson oil, and it's a cannabis oil made out of an indica strain of cannabis, and I need it over 55% in order to kill the tumors in my body because I'm dying of cancer. He said, "Hey, dude, we got it right over here." And he opened up his little cabinet, and it's just full of products. And I'm thinking, well, this ain't what I'm looking for, but I entertained them a little bit. And he kept talking, and this was every place we went. They just did not understand the concept of what I was looking for. Until we figured we can't find it, I'm going to die. I'm crying in the car. My wife's upset. We looked all day long. I can't find the medicine. So we made one more try. We got on the internet, tried Dr. Google, and we found a fancy dispensary. It was on Melrose Avenue. Hey, the prices and stuff on there weren't even listed because it really wasn't open yet. It was still being built. Well, there was an ex-basketball player named Frank Brown who was running the dispensary, and he was running it with investments from Mike Tyson, just his cash investments to run a cannabis business. And little did I know that he had some of that old school RSO in there, and I asked him, he said yes. He had 24 grams of it. I needed 60 grams to start a treatment. Okay, you have to eat 60 grams in 90 days. And it takes 90 days because of how potent it is. You have to build a tolerance to it. So he shows me this medicine. We purchase it. I ask him where it comes from. I said, I need to know how it's made because that's important. So he picks the phone up and hands it to me. And there's a couple old hippies out in California who have been making this for years. And I got on the phone with him and I said, "How are you making this medicine?" He said, "We're following the Rick Simpson method, except for we're not using naphtha, paint thinner like he does. We're using food grade alcohol here." I said, great, that's it. So I got the medicine for the first time, and on the way home, I didn't know how to dose it. I ate a half a gram at one time. That's usually that's usually a dose you're up to after a month. But I ate a half a gram at one time, and I literally passed out in my wife's car after I got, that's how hardcore I was high. She thought she killed me. She thought I was dead.
Not funny, but funny.
Yeah, what's crazy was at that time, though, I'd had that surgery, and I was still dripping fluids out of my body, because when they drained my heart, they put 2 drain tubes in my belly because they put powder in my heart to coagulate that blood, but I was still generating fluids and cancer inside there, and I was just dripping fluids out of my body. I was leaking cancer out of my body for weeks. Once I started eating this medicine, that dried up in a few days. I mean, immediately. Another symptom I had of cancer was my hands and feet were cracking open, and I was bleeding out of my hands and feet a month before I had cancer, because my heart was so sick. My body was trying to steal all the nutrients from the extremities of my body, trying to heal it. So I was gangrenous in my hands, and I didn't know why. I had tried every kind of lotion from every doctor in the world on my skin, and I was bleeding out of my hands. But as soon as I started eating this oil, within days, I'm serious, it started reversing. I gained 12 pounds on doing end-of-life chemotherapy with this drug. I also didn't lose no hair. So when I started doing my chemotherapies, I thought, chemotherapy does not cure cancer. It kills tumors, but so does cannabis if you eat it. So I gave it a double whammy. The chemo, I tell people, do what your doctors tell you. Would I trust cannabis to try to save my life? Well, at this point, if I got cancer again, it means it's not working, because I eat a lot of it. Do what your doctors tell you, and supplement with this medicine until we can find out what's going on exactly with the
Good
studies,
advice.
Everything. That's what Israel's on top of this right now, but you need to do what your doctors tell you and supplement with Rick Simpson oils. And the thing about cannabis is it's everywhere in the world. Unless you are living on a frozen piece of land, there is cannabis around. So people say, how do I get this medicine? You can make it in your kitchen. You can travel to it. A lot of people say it's life versus law, but there's just, there's so much that has to be, to be told people about this medicine, because they've been taught a bad stigma for the last 40, 50, 60 years. How do we reverse that after it's been pounded into generations of people's heads that this is bad for you, with them not knowing that our ancestors used this to maintain health? That's where we are with this today, gentlemen.
What was your dosing regimen? So you said you took a half gram that first day. Did you continue to take a half gram after that?
No, his wife wouldn't let him, probably.
We found a chart online that shows you how to take this. Now, the medicine, you take it in grains of rice. You eat like a grain of rice of it every 3 hours while you're awake. After a week, you double that to 2 grains of rice. After the 3rd week, 3 grains of rice. Well, after you go about 4 or 5 weeks into this, you're eating 5 grains of rice about 4 or 5 times a day. That's 25 grains of rice. That's a whole gram syringe. So we just put it directly in little bitty gel pills, like a pill, and we just, ingest it that way. Now, to do it sublingually, to put it right on your finger and right on your gums, you're going to get a faster absorption, and you're going to feel it faster. But as far as its viability and cancer and stuff, we do not have the studies to show how, how all this is about. But we do know that the government figured out that it can kill tumors, so they hid that from us immediately, because if you can grow a plant in your yard that can do the amazing things this is doing, we're seeing so much now with people, in the military, people who have had these very, very, very bad problems in their minds, injuries from sports. We have found out that cannabis can reverse these problems. It can regenerate. It doesn't grow new cells in your body, but if you heal your body the correct way, you'll give your immune system a chance to reboot and actually start healing things in your body that have never been healed before. Cannabis is a miracle. It really is. And it always has been, just that we forgot it.
Do you get high from the Rick Simpson oil? I don't know, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. You can. I mean, people.
Yeah, you feel it later. When you smoke cannabis, you've got this decarboxylation thing happening.
Right.
Okay? The cannabinoids are all there, but once you fire it up and get it to boiling point, you have just converted most of the cannabinoids all to THC, because that's the chemical thing that happens. It's called decarboxylation.
Sure.
When you eat it, that's an hour later. So if you need an edible, you're going to feel it.
Okay.
Well, could you imagine an edible times 10? That's what RS oil is if you eat it that way. Now, it runs between 55, 75, 85% in its THC value. Regular cannabis is only 20, 25, 30 at its best in its THC value. So imagine that. Ingesting something that is 70, 80% THC, you're going to feel in about 45 minutes. And the first thing you're going to feel is an, oh my God. That's what happens. An, oh my God. Because if you eat too much of this, you will physically think you are going to die. People have went to the hospital and been laughed at because 2 hours later, they are fine. But this medicine will give that almost to anybody who overeats it. It'll make you think, you're going to die. It's a feeling you've never felt before, but it's a very comforting feeling once you learn to accept it, because then the high goes away. Then you start feeling what we call Pac-Man. If you have cancer and eat this medicine, you can feel it eating your cancer. It hurts. I had cancer in my lung, and I could feel it in there. It was itching in my lung. I could feel it. People who do it for brain cancer could feel it in their head. People who have, kidney problems, livers, this medicine is incredible, and you can feel it working in your body. When you're getting cancer, you don't feel it coming. Cancer does not hurt until it's there. I've had it. Believe me, I did not know it was there. But trying to kill cancer with cannabis oil, you can physically feel it dying. And we call that the Pac-Man effect. It's just in there. Waka, 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 waka.
It's got to be a wonderful feeling.
The itch that feels good.
Yeah.
You said that you did traditional chemotherapy as well?
Yeah, well, whenever I was diagnosed, the doctor said, we put powder in your heart, so you're going to die. But if you do the chemotherapy, you might be able to extend your life. And maybe this was July the 31st when I had that surgery, my 50th birthday of 2015. He was, do the chemotherapy. That's all we can give you. We can't radiate your heart. We can't do that. Because there's no other medicine for what's wrong with you, so we have to give you the very strongest chemo we got in order to maybe make you see another Christmas. But he did tell us to get our affairs in order, that there would be no way to survive this because no one ever has. But when we introduce the cannabinoids into the picture now, I can feel every heartbeat in my body. I can hear it. It goes, because there's powder in there. Now, it is coagulated now to where it is solidified. I have a brick in my chest, a brick of calcium is what it is. And my heart's in there beating. And the doctors cannot explain why I'm alive. And the reason why I am alive, I know it, is because I still eat 1 gram a day of this oil. I've eaten over 1,600 grams of cannabis oil in 4 years. Now, if you want to add that up at $50 a gram, that is insane. Well, I haven't had to buy all that medicine. I can make that medicine. I live in a state where we have legal marijuana to buy, and you could turn that into whatever you want in your home. He just took there it is. That's 2. You can write that on the page there.
No, I'm doing it. I'm doing a tally.
Are we?
That word will not leave us alone. That word is stuck, but they beat that word into our minds over 70 years.
Sure they have.
That's not even fiction. It's not a word. It's a very racial word. I've studied this. It's ridiculous. It's cannabis, it's weed, it's pot, but it is not. It's not marijuana. Sorry, never has been. It's cannabis.
Right.
Well, so far we've only got one use of that word in this whole show, so that's
we're doing great.
We're doing pretty good. I should. One of the people in my life who has really convinced me to try to change the language of, calling it cannabis and not using the
M word.
The M
this is
word.
like the F word.
But is Bubba Zarobnik from Plant the Cure, right. And he also chimed in here in the comments. What is it?
I don't know.
It sounds like
is it the blimp taking off?
Yeah,
the blimp's taking. Sometimes the blimp takes off.
Yeah, but so Bubba wanted to so we call it RSO or Rick Simpson Oil, but also other terms for it are amber oil and FECO or full extract cannabis oil, and Phoenix Tears. Or some other things that you can look up when you're researching how you can cure your cancer with natural plant medicine.
It doesn't cure cancer; it kills tumors.
Kills tumors.
And I kill cancer, but the first time we say we're going to cure something, then we're going to have problems because it doesn't cure anything. Everything in the world is not curable; it's treatable, and then it's maintainable. Well, cancer is like any other thing. It's a deficiency of the body in some way to where the immune system lets things grow out of control that should not be there, So to say you're going to cure something, nothing's curable, but it's treatable. And it definitely, this medicine by the government's own hand says on its website that this is a treatment and causes apoptosis. Well, any medical professional knows that's a programmed tumor cell death, and that's a very beautiful thing. Now, Mike Tyson is involved in my story because years went by where I was just cancer-free and just advocating and helping people. We wrote a book called The Green Angel Success Stories. We've helped 400 people, most of them terminal, do this, get them access. And we are seeing a 60-70% success rate of people not dying. That is insane compared to what a doctor can give you. So he finds out that he was involved in this medicine that I had gotten from this dispensary. And he invites me out to LA just to talk to him about it. Well, he's building a cannabis resort that's going to have a wellness center. You know, it's going to be the biggest thing that's ever been done this way. And he invited me to be his lead cancer consultant and just educate people on what I've done because of how many people we've already helped and the successes we've had. And then it's morphed in now to where the world's largest dispensary out in Vegas is working with us, and they're going to get the medicine in their dispensary to where anybody in the world that wants to take a bucket list trip because they're dying of cancer don't have to worry about access. Jump in your car or your plane, whatever, fly to Vegas. Have you a good time. And while you're there, you can buy this legally, no matter who you are, on the spot and start treating yourself, because it's not that way everywhere in the United States. You know, right. You got to go to recreational places and look and hope you don't get ripped off. And then if you go to even medicinal places, they can't educate you that this is a cancer medicine. It's not that. It is a medicine that can kill tumors if you try to use it. So when you go into dispensaries, they don't educate you that this is a cancer medicine. This is a medicine for seizures. This is a medicine that makes you feel better. It helps pain, helps fibromyalgia. It can help you poop if you have Crohn's disease. But never do they say that it is a cancer medicine. It's for nausea. It's to help you feel better when you're doing your chemo. But not once have I heard any dispensary legally say, this is a cancer medicine. And it's got to be that way, because we don't want this all screwed up because of legalities later. You know, people, Rick Simpson himself, he can't even come here because they say he was practicing medicine without a license, giving people cannabis oil. But I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and he's going to be he's in the UK, and it looks like me and the wife are get to go over there and see him because we're helping another patient. Her name's Carrie Parker. She's the Miss United Kingdom, and she has brain cancer. She had it operated on 4 years ago. They removed it. Well, it came back 6 months ago, and she said, I'm not doing no medicine, none. I'm going to eat cannabis oil and try to prove if this can help my cancer. Well, she's over there eating it. She's getting better. They gave her the cover of the Playboy magazine for April. She's, you know, really a blessed. She's a stunt woman in Hollywood, but she's from the UK, and she's going to try to show the world if you can use cannabis without any other Western medicine and see how good it is. So she's really brave, and she's put her brain and her life on the line to do this with no other Western medicines. So shout out to Carrie. We hope we hope this is working for you. And we hope.
What's the average 90-day cost through a retail?
Retail is about $50 a gram. A cancer treatment runs about $3,000 for the 3 months. Okay, you're eating 60 grams in 90 days. The first 30 days, you're building a tolerance. You'll eat about 4, 5, 8 grams. The last 60 days of that 3 months, you're eating 1 whole gram a day until it's completely gone. And we'd like people to get to their doctors and get what's called a marker test, maybe get a scan of a PET scan, a CT, an MRI, before you take the medicine. That way, 3 months from now, you can get a scan, and we can definitely show if there's been any kind of change or activity, because in 3 months, the telltale is either the cancer is going to spread or the chemotherapy is going to put you into some type of remission. Well, very rarely do you see it completely go away. And that's what we're seeing with cannabis oil. It is actually killing cancer and leaving scar tissue behind. It's a miracle. It really is, gentlemen.
It looks like we've just a little bit of technical stuff. So it looks like we've lost our Facebook feed, which I wonder if it's because of what we were talking about.
Are you serious?
But yeah, but we're recording it, and
most people on the internet, guys, I can't say nothing. Or I go into Facebook jail every other week, and they told me last time if I go into jail one more time, I'm going to be like Alex Jones. I'm off social media. They're threatening to take me off the air. So, and
you'll be deplatformed.
We would be, huh?
Huh?
No. We'll find another white.
It's a reminder, everybody go to Veedverks go to YouTube and search for Veedverks, and we upload our videos there as well. So,
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we're on Dash Radio. And we're soon to be on Blunt TV. So maybe Facebook's, maybe they'll shut down our feed here, but we're going to keep going.
You really think that could be it?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
How many times have we done this? I've done at least 100 almost 150 shows in the last year and a half. And that's unusual. I think it's because of the knowledge that you're dropping on people. So I'd view that as a you get a gold star for the day.
Feather in everyone's cap. There's ways around Facebook. They've got their issues on what they do anyways. If anyone needs a pointing finger, it's the world public at them.
Yep.
They know the scams that go on Facebook.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, hear you well, buddy.
Why do you gentlemen use cannabis? Enlighten me on what it does for you in your life and how it improves, if you don't mind.
Well, I use it for back pain, which is non-existent now, basically. I hurt my back when I was in my early 20s, and it was a chronic problem. So I took a ton of ibuprofen every day. I usually took just part of my morning routine was to take 4 200 milligram ibuprofens, and I took a bunch of like Scalaxin, cyclobenzaprine, different muscle relaxers, and I also use it to keep my head on straight. When I moved to Colorado, I was taking 7 prescription pills, and now I'm taking no prescription pills and no ibuprofen. So I use cannabis to be healthy.
Yeah.
Your liver thanks you that way.
Oh, definitely.
When you're young, you think you're doing it just for the effect. No matter how you do it or whatever, it's always a healthy thing.
It's
for
a
me,
application, no matter how you use it. Absolutely. Why are you using it? Well, I want to get high. I want to feel better. Well, if you're not feeling bad and you want to feel better, you're still changing physiological things in your body that are a medical application. So people don't realize that, hey, I'm medicating. So my saying is, here's my personal saying, don't hesitate to medicate. That's my saying.
For me, where it really came into medicine was about 8 years ago. A chiropractor broke my neck, adjusting me. And the first subscription, I can't even say it now. I need water. Say it for me.
The first prescription.
Was 160 Roxycodone 30s and 60 Xanax bars. This is a professional. I had a severely injured neck. I'm following doctor's protocol, what he's saying. A year later, I'm at 210 and 90 Xanax bars, and I'm starting to feel like shit. And there was times where I tried to stop. The emotional, mental, and physical pain was unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like that before in my life. So I called I called a pain management doctor, and I said, I got to get off this. It's not helping me. It's hurting me. It's taking my life away from me. And he said, we've got this a medicine called it's orange. Oh, what's it called? It's a beta blocker. What's that?
Turmeric.
No. It's a God. I can't believe I forgot the name. But anyways, the first thing that he said was 12 million people in Europe will be on this Suboxone, will be on this rest of their life. And I'm thinking, God dang, so I'm just switching drugs, So what I started doing through that year and a half, I stopped smoking cannabis. Shame on me. And I just got marked. And I never really drank that much anyways. So I started with Suboxone and cannabis, and somewhere around 4 months around there, completely off Suboxone, and really it's just been a godsend and a management thing for me for the pain.
Is Suboxone given to where I live? Suboxone is also given to recovering heroin addicts.
I'm sure it can be. It's a beta blocker. Okay. So now, absolutely.
California, I've been out in California years ago, and they're rehabs now.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into a rehab because of addiction, you do your 30, 28-day stint. When you get out, some of those people are getting a cannabis card, and they never go back to their drug of choice.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned Xanax. I'm an MS patient, and I was on 4 or 5 triple bars a day, and then it went crazy after that. My doctor was giving them to me.
Of course.
For single Barbaro effect, because I would start crying for no reason because I have a brain problem. I have MS, too. So I was taking that, and then I realized it was bad for me, and I wanted to just use cannabis only. So I stopped my Xanax cold turkey about 4 years ago. It almost killed me. It almost killed me. I had to go to the hospital 3 times in an ambulance because I was not taking nothing else. But after I got through that, I had no clue how dangerous Xanax was until I took myself off of my own medication. And my doctor said, you know what? You're the closest we've ever seen somebody dying from taking that Xanax in our town, because I wasn't taking it to OD. I was taking it for MS. And when you stop, your body will fail you. You have to wing off that medication. It's like alcohol. Yeah. You'll die.
100%.
So it's very, very serious. But the cannabis, let's write it down.
That's a half. That's only a half.
Also, you mentioned that you have the back problems. Have you tried any type of topical rubs that were made of cannabis? Because we've seen people rub it on top of actual skin tumors, like Rick Simpson did, and in weeks it goes away. It's insane how it works topically, mixed with maybe a coconut oil. You can do that for almost any kind of injury you have in your body. Your body's going to accept those cannabinoids through your epidermis, and it's going to work. That's why making marijuana or cannabis oil, you can feel it in your skin, and you can get high from just making the medicine, just touching it and playing in it, and that's one of the best parts about cannabis is it's healthy for your body. We can give it to babies and children now because we know for a fact a mother's body produces these cannabinoids. It should be the first line of defense. If say your children get cancer, well, you have tests that show it's going to get, we need to do something. Well, before we give this boy chemotherapy or this girl or radiation, why couldn't we try some cannabinoids, which are very safe, just for a few weeks, and then check and see if it's working? Because it will show. If it doesn't work, then we can poison the hell out of these kids. But why would this not be the first line of defense if it's proven that it can kill tumors? That's where we're at today. People have to do life versus law. Now, people call me and say, Darren, I can't get the medicine. I say, jump in your car and drive somewhere. Go to a tavern. Ask a bartender for a little bit of cannabis, an ounce. If you get arrested, it's probably going to be a misdemeanor. At least where I live it is. Most states are not arresting people for small amounts of possession. So life versus law. You get cancer. You do what your doctor tells you. And you supplement with a cannabis oil protocol, and your chances of survivability or even beating it greatly increased. We're talking 200, 300% more than what a doctor's doing. So this needs to become mainstream. I've got DEA agents, active DEA agents, federal judges, rock stars, country western people, all get a hold of me. You wouldn't believe who gets a hold of me, and I can't talk openly about it, but I help them get access to where they're at, and they end up getting better. And I can't tell everybody about it, but when it gets legal, we're gonna put our book out. We have over 300 success stories in our book, and some of those names are in anonymity. We don't everybody know who they are.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of people who do want you to know who they are. Mm-hmm. And I heard Senator John McCain was using this for relief with his brain cancer, but then they didn't tell us about it till after he passed away. Right. Well, it'd have been nice to know that when he was alive, wouldn't it? It would have helped our agenda a lot to know that our government officials are using this medicine and tell us that we can't have access. It's ridiculous. It's no medicinal value, but it can kill tumors in your bodies, help you poop, stop seizures. It's insane. It's insane. You guys know where I'm at with this. It's hypocrisy at its finest.
So is Tyson Ranch open now or what? Where are we at on that?
Yeah, we have a home office, and actually he's one of the world's largest producers of CBD right now for sale. It's sold as an isolate and as a distillate in kilos. He's doing it in multiple states now. Out in Desert Hot Springs, they broke ground. They're building this big ranch. It's going to be the world's largest lazy river around the thing. It's going to have cabanas. It's going to have nice restaurants. It's going to have a wellness center where if you have sports injuries or if you have cancer, you'll be able to go there and get educated and stay there for weeks at a time and just use cannabis. They're going to have a college where you can learn to grow cannabis and get scholarships from Mike Tyson.
That's kind of funny.
Mike Tyson. Now, you can see where this is going. This has never been done before. Now, can you imagine, like I said, having a bucket list? I can't get cannabis in my state. Oh, damn. Well, jump in the car. Go out to Vegas. Go out to Desert Springs. Go out to Colorado. Go. You have to search this out. Now, I was dying and I broke the law. Now it's legal where I'm at. I came home and it's legal. I can go buy cannabis and turn it into whatever I want. In Illinois, we can carry firearms. I want to bring this up. Okay? In Illinois, we did not vote for cannabis laws. They legislated. We woke up one day and there we had it. So since we did not vote to get our cannabis, they can't take our guns away from us. We have a shall state when it comes to our guns. So in Illinois, I can legally carry my Glock on my hip and my pen shooter in my pocket. And they cannot do a thing to me because I have the right from God to medicate myself, and I have a right from God to protect my damn self. And not leave that right there. That's where I'm going to leave that. And it should be that way everywhere. We should be able to responsibly use our medicines. Are they going to take all the Vicodin away from our policemen and take their guns away from them? No. That's where I'm at with this. Cannabis is safe. You can drive an automobile and use this medicine. It's a safe medicine. Now, Tyson, he's growing CBDs. He's putting his products now, his premium cannabis in all kinds of dispensaries. And he's basically, you were talking about the frog juice stuff earlier. He's on a spiritual journey now to where he uses cannabis for his, for his pain and his injuries. But he's also tried those DMTs and things. And I've seen a change in my boss. I get to see him, every other week or so when I'm in LA. But just to see him use these new medicines and not drink, not the cocaines, not the women addictions, everything. It is insane what it's done for this man's life. You know his story. Well, I cannot explain to you how peaceful he is in his life today because of just cannabis and it being legal and him having something to do in the business. It's great. So what he's going to do is he's going to make sure that people that have sports injuries, people that are in they have access to this for their pain, for regeneration of body tissues and stuff. When your brain has an injury, cannabis can help heal that. Now it doesn't grow body parts, but it surely can heal your body. We know this. This is all fact. And Mike has his own podcasting going on, like you gentlemen do, and it's really neat to see him bring guests on there and talk about the basics of how he got to where he is today. His whole life is a drug story. He was but to end up after his whole career using cannabis and then being able to legally use it to help people and actually make a living at it. We're living in good times, guys. This is good times.
Well, tell him we'd love to switch some podcasts with him. We'll be on his show and he could be on our show and it'll all be beautiful. And Facebook will block it.
He will hear that now. He does watch what I do. He follows me because at the ranch, I'm one of the only people at the ranch who can keep social media because people use social media and they get in trouble all the time. Well, it's very important that I get to say what I say because it's still not verbatim fact written in books yet that this is happening. So we have to keep telling people and push the issue. You need to know the government has killed tumors with marijuana. It has happened. You need to know it, and you need to know that option is available to you. There's number 4 or 5. What is it today? How are we?
You've got 2, Michael's. You've got 2.5. Michael's got 1.
What about you?
I believe I have 0.
Oh, you have 0. Nice.
You must be taking some kind of cannabis that makes you forget to say that word, I guess.
I've just been trying to train myself.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Bubba, and he really made a very clear point with me. And so I'm trying to eliminate it from my vocabulary. Although if I'm talking to every now and then, depending on who you're talking to, you might need to use that word as a way to start the discussion. Yeah, I'm just trying to eliminate it.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been my New Year's resolution.
What was yours?
Stop saying fuck in the shower.
That's right. I remember that. That's just hilarious. I love it.
I'm doing better.
Yes, you are. Well,
How do you know?
No, here I don't hear it.
I thought you meant in the shower.
Oh no, you had mentioned it before.
Yeah.
After
New Year's show. That was my New Year's resolution. So I'm improving.
I forget what I said. Don't hold me to it.
You were going to lose 25 pounds.
I've lost 10, 12.
Good.
Yeah. Slow but surely.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah. At least you're not making a resolution about stopping sticking things in your rectum or something like that. We're good.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about cannabis oil in the rectum. Okay. When you eat this medicine, it gets you very, very high. The viability in your bloodstream goes through, it breaks the blood barrier, it goes through all your organs, it goes to your liver, all this. Anyway, if you don't want to be high using cannabis oil, we don't know exactly if it's as good of an effect as far as killing the cancer, but it's working for some people, you can stick this up your rectum and not feel it at all. Because what happens is when you eat cannabis oil, it goes into your body and then it goes into your liver. Once it gets put through your bloodstream, it gets through the blood-brain barrier and attaches to the CB1 receptor in your brain, you get high from it an hour later. Well, if you take this grease and you kind of just stick it in your rectum and go to sleep, you won't feel it because it's going through the system reversely, and it doesn't quite decarboxylate in the system the same. You don't get high from it as much if you do it rectally. So there are suppositories you can use with this medicine, and it keeps you from being as high. And that helps a lot of elderly people who don't like the effects of cannabis. They can still do the RSO protocol without eating as much of it. So, I wanted to put that out there that if you're scared of the high or you don't want that high, there are ways of doing RSO THC medicine without having to really be completely out of it. But once you take it, you get very used to it, and it's almost comforting. If I don't have a handful of these little syringes of grease in my pockets at all times, I feel like I'm going to die because it saved my life. The doctors have proven that what they did to put the powder in my heart, I can't be alive right now. So cannabinoids are keeping me alive. And that's the only medicine I use. I'm a stage 3 MS patient, a terminal cancer survivor, and I use cannabinoids as my only medicine. I used to inject interferon in my leg and belly every week for 9 years because I had MS and I was using Avonex beta 1A interferon as my medicine. Well, that's an immune suppressing drug. That could have helped cause me to get cancer. But we all have cancer already. You gentlemen have cancer. It's just not awake in your body and running rampant. It's in you already. What wakes it up? What kills it? Well, today we're learning that if you use cannabis and you eat it, you have a good chance of listening to what your doctors tell you and surviving terminal cancer nowadays. That's just that's not a give me. It's an option, not a fact. I just want to put it out there. This is not fact. This is an option. We got to watch what we say, people. We don't want to be wrong. We don't cure cancer. We kill tumors. So that's how we put that today to keep it politically correct.
Sure. I wanted to give a shout out. You mentioned Dr. Regina Nelson earlier, so I want to tell people that she's written a number of great books, including The Survivor's Guide to Medical Cannabis and
ECS Therapy.
ECS Therapy Center. Also, something that she mentions in her book, and she's mentioned it on our show before, is that perhaps a choline supplement can help with people who don't want to feel too high. Mm-hmm. I've never really seriously tried to not get high after I consume cannabis, so I can't say if I can't speak from experience about whether that does anything. But I would recommend Dr. Regina Nelson's books, nice. ECS Therapy Center online. Love her.
I think she's still in Peoria, Illinois. She's about 3 hours from where I live. I'm in Granite City, Illinois. I'm 10 minutes from St. Louis, Missouri. Missouri is going crazy right now. They're getting ready to pass their cannabis laws and they're getting up and running. Illinois is getting ready to go completely recreational and give us grow rights. So, things are really, I think there's like 39 or 40 states now that have some kind of access. Think about that, gentlemen. 10 years ago, you could go to jail for having a bag of weed in your pocket. Now you can go to the store and buy it. It's God's good.
Amen. Things are changing for the better.
I think it's because of the internet. I think that we've all figured out how to talk to each other without it being filtered through the DARE program and the DEA and all these ignorant and corrupt politicians. And even though they may shut down our feed from time to time, but we're not going to stop talking.
We're here to give out information and education. Any parting words?
Any parting words?
What's the weather like where you're at? It looks like it's in the background. It's kind of got a little wind, a little,
It actually looks kind of like that today. Maybe not as many clouds, but it's a beautiful day out here.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Snow-capped mountains. It's just nice.
Well, let's go ahead and brush those before I go. Besides being very powerful, man, very good-looking man, you got a very nice set. You wear your ties with distinction. You guys look good. I just want to let you know. A little
appreciate that.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt, does it?
No, definitely not.
I couldn't tell you.
Travis. What a great show.
Yeah.
Unbelievable guest. First time we've ever been whacked, though, by Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means we're doing something right.
Yeah. You know what? It upsets me somewhat, but then on the other hand, we definitely need to find it. We've been talking about it anyways. Another platform.
Oh yeah.
That it's just we're here to educate and give information from solid individuals like you, Darren. And I think our listeners are truly blessed to hear your story.
I'm just truly blessed to have lived it. I've been on a journey, and I'm one of the luckiest men in the world to get stage 3 MS and then go on disability because your life is actually almost not livable. That's where I was at.
Sure.
Then to find cannabinoids again in my life. I've used it my whole life, but I refound it because I've been sober for 12 years. I was homeless 15 years ago. I was a cocaine addict. I have been sober for 12 years. I've remarried. My wife is in her PhD program right now. She's going to be a doctor in like 3 months.
Yay, wow. Amy Miller.
And we have a nonprofit called the Green Angels. And what we do is if anybody gets a hold of us, I don't care where you live in the world, we will explain to you through the systems on how to legally find a way to do this, or find a way to do it life versus law that will not put you in prison. Because like I said, you can buy very small amounts of cannabis at any tavern in the United States. There's no reason why you cannot make your own medicine and save your own life with nobody even knowing it if it gets to that point. So anybody out there, if you are suffering with cancer, with any of these ailments, and want to try these products, get a hold of these gentlemen. They can tell you things you don't know. Look at my Facebook page. I can tell you things you don't know about where to go, how to get this without going to jail. It's legal now, pretty much. The government just hasn't let it go yet. And they're going to, believe me. I know I've heard things I cannot repeat here.
Sure.
I've seen pictures of people in the government in grow places, and I can't tell you who they are.
Sure.
But I've seen it. And it's going to happen because they know it has to at this point. The Democratic Party is going to run on this. So it's either going to get passed by a president we have now in the next year or two, or they're going to run on it and they're going to win in a few years. Cannabis will be legal in the next 3 years. I can guarantee you. For everybody. I can guarantee you that. So let's just see what happens and hope that they don't have to mess up the whole thing by making it legal, because that's usually what they do. They mess it up.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Well, New York and New Jersey are pushing away from recreational right now because they don't know how to spend the tax dollars. Is that ridiculous?
No,
or what?
the black market. Once you go recreational, all the weed they grow at the dispensaries are on the street. And then the price comes down at the dispensaries. It's about messing with their bottom dollar. Yeah. They don't want you growing cannabis. They want you to buy it from them.
Yep.
10 years ago, it was illegal. Now they are the drug dealer. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Well,
we've hit our mark.
Yeah. Darren, thank you very much for joining us.
It's been fantastic. Thank you.
We'll get this up on YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
Yep.
Can't make us, you can't stifle the truth. We're going to keep talking.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And tell Mike Tyson he's welcome on our show.
Amen. We'd love to have him. Take care.
All right. I'll
Darren.
give him a message first.
Tell Amy hello.
I sure will. You guys take care. Don't forget to medicate. Don't hesitate to medicate.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Wait. Let's do this. All right. Awesome
Great show. Well, yeah.
First time we got shut down.
Well, thankfully, you're still up, though. Just the show was taken.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I don't want it to hurt Veedverks,
Veedverks.
Veedverks. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I'm not the only one that does that. Yeah. Who was our guest a couple times ago? That
Mark Goldfoot.
Yeah, Mark.
Veedverks.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back soon with another outstanding episode of the Mainstream Cannabis Media Empire. And have
a great day, guys.